All right, so welcome back to the channel. Today we are joined by my business partner, Kevin. I thought we would record this podcast to sort of discuss the reality of running a business in Dubai as someone myself who has now done it for almost 2 years. I believe you've done it for even more than that. So yeah, let's get started. For those of you don't know who Kevin is, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, so my name is Kevin McKenzie. I'm the co-founder of GenZone, where we've helped over 400 companies establish here in Dubai. We specialize in, of course, setting up companies, but banking, golden visas, and even real estate. So if you need any of these services, you can use the link down below to book a call.
So do you think Canada is still a good place to live?
Honestly, no, not at all. Back in maybe 2016, that was the last time that you should even consider moving to Canada. Now, taxes are way too high. They were always high, but they're increasing now. They keep increasing taxes, and it doesn't make sense. They'll probably still increase taxes after there's 100% of taxation. That's how bad it is. But the quality of life is bad because of taxes too. You can't even afford to really live. People are struggling in Canada. You need 2-3 jobs in some cases where your income is low to even just get by. And if you have a family, forget about it. It's really, really hard. One really thing that I hate about Canada is the healthcare. It blows my mind that no matter how rich you are, you still have to go to the exact same healthcare that everyone else has. And that healthcare is terrible. You literally have to wait in a long line, even for an emergency center and an emergency care center. You have to wait in a really long line just to see a doctor for maybe 10 minutes. They'll tell you, oh yeah, just drink water and get out of here. It's insane. I was driving by an emergency clinic and I was like, oh wow, they must be releasing something there. They must be a new shoe collection dropping. And then I read, oh, emergency clinic. Oh, they're just opening it up. That's how bad it is. In Dubai, if you want to go to the doctor, you call them. Are you guys open? Yes. Okay. 30 minutes. You're inside of an office speaking to a doctor. So no, I don't think anyone should live in Canada anymore.
It's crazy thing. I realized this when I was in Southeast Asia. Obviously, all these Western countries, Canada, UK, the income levels in these countries, I think on the absolute, they're gonna be some of the highest in the world. But when you consider that against the cost of living, it's pretty much not even obvious that it's better to live in Canada on a regular salary versus live in Indonesia on the regular salary. Because I know for a fact that there's people living in Indonesia, a developing poor country, where if you take the ratio of income versus your rent or versus your cost of living, the ratio is actually much better than the regular people in Canada. So that's
funny. People, Canadians are like, oh, poor people in the third world countries. No, poor you. You're the one who's not keeping anything. You're the one who can't even afford to buy anything, and you're eating processed foods. You're living in a cold country. Everyone around you has purple hair. It's a really interesting place to live. So I'm very happy that I moved away from Canada, and I do not plan on going back, at least for the next 10, 20, 30 years. I have zero plans of going back, at least, that's for sure.
Do you think you would ever go back? What would be a scenario where you would go back?
If I could have a structure, which I haven't figured out yet, but if I could have a tax structure where my income could legally be tax-free around the world, I would feel comfortable traveling to Canada for no longer than 6 months per year in that case. I don't think there's any case at all where I would actually live in Canada for the entire year. And maybe me in 20 years from now, I'll be watching this back and I'll be like, oh, Kevin, you actually moved back. But right now in my brain, I don't think there's any case where I would actually move back to Canada. There's nothing that appeals to me anymore there. And I feel like, it's better to be in a more, forward-thinking country like the UAE, where you can make a lot more money and the people around you are more like-minded. If you look at North America, even the US too, everyone has totally different opinions. Even in the elections with Trump, just won. He won, but still, it's not 100% people voting for him. It's half people voting for him, half people voting for Kamala. Everyone just clashes, and I hate that. I like Dubai because everyone is in harmony. We all have the same opinions. That's why we all moved here, right? So I don't think there's a situation where I would move back to Canada. Even if Canada was perfect, the weather alone was probably 80% of the reason why I wanted to leave. I remember going outside every day, shivering in Canada, having to shovel the snow. It's just not the place to be. So even if I did move back, it wouldn't be for more than 6 months. Maybe, of course, in a case where maybe if I had kids and they had to be in a school in Canada or something, sure. But for now, definitely not in the plans, and I don't expect to go back.
Yeah, looking at things like the U.S. election that just happened, Trump won, but it's just looking at the division in especially bad in the U.S., similar in a lot of these Western countries. it's interesting to like look at all of this from afar from the UAE, where it doesn't really affect us. Okay, maybe it affects the markets or something. All the time I was thinking, I'm so glad I'm not part of that. I'm so glad I'm not there, like in this, like where everyone's just fighting each other. I'm so glad I can be here where people are just reasonable. We're not like fighting each other. We're like you said, like people who move to Dubai is like a self-selected group, because it's certain kinds of people that really want to come to Dubai, that are all gonna be like positive, at least in my experience, like very just growth minded. It's just a nice environment to be in.
Yeah, like the people moving to Dubai, high quality. The people moving to Canada and the US, low quality. Yeah. What's the difference too? Some of them are going to Canada and the US illegally, and some of them are going to and all of them are coming to Dubai legally. So that's also another thing too. It's just like, yes, maybe at a certain point those countries were more in harmony, and they were a lot more in harmony back in the day. Even with things like religion. If you look at the religion rates, percentage rates in Canada, for example, it used to be like 80-90% Christian. Now it's not anymore, and I'm not saying anything about religion, but it's just like now you're mixing so many different types of people in a country. It's bound to have issues. It's bound to create problems, and that's exactly what we're seeing. More crime, more issues, more problems. And yeah, I agree with you. I'm here sitting in Dubai and I'm looking at Canada and I'm like, wow, look at all these monkeys just jumping around. Like, what's going on over there? While over here, it's all peaceful. Nothing's going on. And actually, one thing that I love about Dubai is, yes, we're in the UAE. Yes, we have our own currency, but we still actually benefit from the strongest country in the world, the US, because our currency is pegged to their currency. So that's actually a really good point. So if you move to another country, let's say you went to France or you went to Spain or you went to whatever country, their currency is not pegged to the US dollar. Ours is. So that's a really good thing. So if you want to invest in Dubai or hold your money in Dubai, it's actually really good because you're pegged against the strongest currency in the world. So that's actually a really good thing that most people don't know.
Very nice. When I look at my portfolios, whether it's US dollar or like the AED, I don't need to think about like, oh, the US dollar lost a bit of value, so now my like portfolio expressed in AED has like gone down in value. It's like it's much easier when it's just pegged, so I don't need to think about it. So that's actually a very good point.
Yeah, most people don't think about that. They always think, oh, they don't even understand why it's like that, but it's just so that there's less volatility in the market. And yeah, it's a lot better. Like imagine you set up your business in another country, I don't know, like Thailand, for example, and you had to have the Thai currency to do business. That's going to fluctuate a lot. And if you look at other countries, I don't know, like Argentina, you've seen their currency just depreciate so much. Imagine you had an amazing business. Good. That's fantastic. But then you're fighting against Forex. At least in Dubai, you have the benefit of, I'm making money here tax-free as well, but I'm also pegged to the US dollar, so my currency won't devaluate like every other place. It's literally a perfect thing. So and the same thing for real estate. You sell your real estate, you get dirhams, and then your dirhams are pegged to the dollar. So you're basically living in the US without living in the US, if you really think about it.
Benefits, but not the
it's actually
downsides.
super cool. So that's something that a lot of people don't think about.
Do you think Dubai is overrated?
I really have to think about this one. Do I think that low taxes or no taxes, high quality of life, good weather, safety, do I think that's overrated? No, obviously not. Like everyone is moving here for a reason. There's a reason why like almost 10,000 millionaires have moved to Dubai in 2024. Of course, the end of the year hasn't happened, but we're going to see exactly how many people are moving here. And yeah, no, it's definitely not overrated. And that number will continue to grow. And I think even last year, 17 point something million tourists. The year before that, maybe around 16 million. And obviously that's going to keep growing. So no, definitely not overrated. And the tourists don't think it's overrated either. And I always like to say, go where the money goes, and the money is definitely coming here. So,
and it's only going to accelerate because there's still some stigma in the West about Dubai, but all of that is sort of going away now. You don't have the stigma anymore. People are realizing, okay, it's actually a reasonable place to go to, and I have all these benefits that you listed. So I think it's only gonna because they also have they're actually trying to make Dubai the best city in the world. Let alone whether they're gonna succeed or not, but they actually try to actually make it the best city in the world. Have you ever heard let's make Toronto the best city in the world? They don't even try. They're just fighting about genders and they. They're not worried. They're distracted about all this stuff. Whereas Dubai leaders are like, okay, how can we just practically make this amazing? Okay, it's not a perfect place yet, but they're just like, okay, we have this and this problem. Let me just fix them. And that's how it keeps moving in the right direction. I think more, it's gonna keep moving in that direction, and people are gonna keep realizing. Yeah, but let's see.
Dubai is run like a business, and Western countries are run like a charity. Literally, it's a charity. It's like, oh yeah, we'll help you, we'll help you, we'll help you. Dubai is like, no, you come here, you make money, you're gonna get rich being here, you're gonna be happy being here. If you don't like it, then you can go. That's something I love about Dubai. So yeah, totally with you there.
Why are so many crypto people specifically moving to Dubai, do you think?
Honestly, if I'm gonna keep it really real with you, taxes. Like, you can make so much money here, and I know so many crypto investors who've made millions of dollars and they don't have to pay anything away to taxes. They keep the entire thing. Plus, if you live in Dubai, you would know this. You can buy cars with crypto, you can buy houses with crypto, you can do everything with crypto. So not only do you save money in taxes, but you can actually use your crypto. Not like in Canada, where if you cash out money to your bank account from your crypto wallet, it's going to freeze your bank account. I actually have one of my clients. He told me he's banned from literally every single Canadian bank for cashing out crypto into them. So he literally can't go back to Canada because he's debanked. He got Kanye'd. But yeah, it's definitely because of that, for sure.
But I thought everyone says Canada has good healthcare. So is that not true?
Yeah, no, that's so wrong. Like, that's the worst thing I've ever heard in my life. So people think that the healthcare in Canada is good. Sure, if it was good, that would be great. But it's not. It's terrible. You can't even go and see a doctor. And to make things even worse, I call this like the double slap. The double slap is that you're paying for this healthcare that's free. It's not free. It's paid by your taxes. And if you're not paying for it, then it means you're not making any money. So, you're probably homeless. So that's the thing. Canadian healthcare is not free. You pay for it, and it's terrible. I don't know if you've ever been to Canada. No, you've never been to Canada. But if you go to the hospital in Canada, you can quite literally wait in the center for up to 24 hours. I'm not even joking. I swear in some cases it could be even longer. When I was in Canada, I was looking on my phone at the wait times, and it was literally telling me that it was like 20 hours. So I was just like, okay, well, what am I supposed to do? Should I hurt myself even more to go to the doctor? Like, no. So in that case, I just didn't go, and I just let it be. But I should have gotten the treatment, for sure.
Do they have the option of taking private healthcare in Canada, or is it only public?
It's only public. That's the problem. That's the problem. Like in the UK, at least you can get private. Maybe it's not great either, but at least you can access it if you have the money. In Canada, it's like, no, I don't care if you're Bill Gates. I don't care if you're the richest man in the world. You still have to wait just like everyone else. And of course, as a concept, it's good that, healthcare is accessible to everyone. It's fair for everyone. I totally agree with that. But it should still at least be good for everyone. And it's not. They've given it to so many people, and it's so accessible that people abuse the system and take advantage. And that's why there is a low quality of service.
It's just like most ideas in the left, like most woke ideas. They sound great on paper, but they don't work.
They don't work at all.
Because the incentives are not aligned. Like the incentives are backwards. Like obviously, I also obviously believe that we should all have access to free healthcare. No one should die because they can't get healthcare. But then if you make a system like this, it's in practice, it's just not going to work because people are going to abuse it. So,
yeah, I mean, that's a big problem. And, healthcare and taxes is a huge reason why people leave Canada, even weather as well. And they're not incentivizing people to stay anymore. Even if taxes were low, people would still leave because of other issues. Like, they need to fix everything. Otherwise, the rich are going to keep leaving, and then they're going to be stuck with the low quality people who do not contribute to society and don't make any money. And then they're going to end up being a third world country one day, while, the third world countries and the developing countries are the ones winning. Of course, in life, there's always a good period and then the bad period. Yeah. And we're seeing it right now. Canada is definitely going through a bad period. Like, if you just look at the numbers, you can tell that a lot of rich people are leaving. And I see it firsthand. I help people leave the country, and it's not always rich people. It's just middle class people who just want a better life, don't want to pay as much money in taxes, moving to places like Dubai.
All empires eventually fall.
Yeah,
literally, if you look at the West, it looks like, maybe it'll just be a blip and eventually it will come back up. I don't think so, but when you look at the West, it literally looks like an empire that is falling. Like we used to there's freaking riots on the streets and all this kind of stuff. I know it's not like that all the time everywhere, but it's yeah, things are, the West had their period of being at the top. Now it's going down. There's other places that are now coming up, and that's, I guess, always how civilizations go. So I already know the process, but just tell me, as someone who does this, what is the process of setting up in Dubai, and how long does it all take and everything?
Yeah, so if you're setting up a business in Dubai, there's two things you need to know. Are you setting up a mainland company or a free zone company? Most people moving to Dubai will set up a free zone company. Later on, when you're actually in Dubai, you'll probably consider a mainland company. But if you're moving to Dubai for the first time, you'll probably set up a free zone company, which is an online company. So if you're a consultant, you have a marketing company, you have a YouTube channel, whatever, this is what you're going to set up. Now, the process to set up a company in Dubai doesn't take long at all. I call it a 4-week process from start to finish. Start being you start the process to the finish line being you have your company set up, your 2-year residency, which is renewable, of course, and you have your bank accounts. So it's a pretty streamlined process. Of course, you'll hear horror stories of people needing to take months and months and months and months and months to get this done. But normally it should not take more than 4 weeks if you have a streamlined process. So week number 1, you register the company. Week number 2, you get the entry permit. Then you fly to Dubai. And week number 3, you do your medical and your biometrics appointments and you get your Emirates ID. And then week number 4, you set up and open and receive your bank cards. So it's a pretty streamlined process. If you're looking to get started with that, it shouldn't take long at all. And of course, if you want our assistance, you can use the link down below to book a call. You can speak directly to us.
And by the way, if you book a call with us, like you're speaking directly to founding partners, Kevin and Cheyenne, our other partner. You're not speaking to some employee who doesn't really know anything or something like you would with many other agencies. So yeah, that's good to know.
Yeah, it's actually pretty funny because I get on a lot of calls, right? Literally thousands. Like it's in my head every single day. And on these calls, obviously people are trying to price shop, see what's out there. They're not only going to speak to us, they're going to look everywhere, right? And when they get on the call with us, it's like a sense of relief. It's like, oh, finally, I found someone who can communicate properly, is transparent, actually wants the best option for me. And that's exactly what we do for people. Because honestly, like I get on calls with people and they tell me stuff that's totally false. Like, for example, they'll speak with an agency and they'll tell them, oh, you only need to travel to Dubai 1 day every 6 months for tax residency, right? That's not true at all. That's just residency. And I clear that up for them and they're like, oh, okay. And then they explain to me the pricing that maybe another agency is giving. And I explain to them, that's why it's so cheap. And they're like, oh, so that's why people feel a sense of relief. You're paying for a good service and you're paying for a good experience. So yeah, if you guys need a call, we'd be more than happy to get on a call and of course discuss literally everything. It's a free consultation. We don't charge anything for it. It's not like $1,000, but the value you get is really, really good.
So I think that's about all the time we have. Thank you so much, Kevin, for coming to the channel to talk about Dubai. Let's hope we can do this again soon. Again, if you're looking for help with setting up in Dubai, you can just click the link down below in the description. Again, you can speak to this guy directly or our other business partners, and they can help you, talk to you about your situation, and then move forward if that is the right choice for you. Now, we did do a previous podcast previously where we went into a lot more detail about the specifics of the process. If you want to see that podcast, you can click right here on the screen. And with that, I'll see you in the next one.